There is a mathematical time limit to how long skins can fall in this market, and it's 7 days. It's not because of changes in sentiment or because of some magic support, but from liquidity, how money moves in this market and how price changes in this market.
And now for our Counter-Strike report. New York's very own Mike Water.
Welcome back to DE News. I'm your host, Mike Water 9. We start by looking at our market cap this week, and it has come back on Price Empire, but we do not have last week's data. So again, we will look at Steam DT's market index, which does just as good of a job, albeit at a different number, so you cannot really compare the two. As of today, we've seen 2 days of continuous growth in the market cap, but the 7 days before that were all down. That is the longest streak I've seen in over a year at this point, and that's really the limit in which you can have in a market such as this one. As we know, selling an item, moving an item all requires a 7-day trade or escrow hold on your money, which means that after 7 days, people get their money back into their balances, ready to be liquid, ready to be spent once again. And in a downtrending market such as the one we're in right now, the funds that they sold 7 days ago now have a lot more buying power than the number suggests on their balance screen. Right? If you sold your knife for $1,000 and everything else has gone down 20 to 30%, your $1,000 is worth 20 to 30% more if you put it right back into circulation and within this economy. And on top of this, while some things bleed out, such as the armory and such as active drops, which have seen probably the largest dip they've seen in over a year at this point as well, a lot of things are up. And if you're a viewer of this channel, you should be up. Every single 0 to 1 blue and purple within every case and collection, almost across the board, is up right now. The AUG Luxe trim is up 50%. The USB Flashback is up 50%. AUG Ricochet is up around 30%. The Mag 7 copper coated from the Anubis collection is up around 70% in the last 2 to 3 weeks. And the M4 Magnesium from the Danger Zone collection as well is up around 40 to 50% in StatTrak Factory New over the last 2 weeks or so. So with our funds that have gained outright and have gained relative in the market, we can use this with the CSFloat database being back. The CSFloat database was reinstated around 2 to 3 days ago, which leads us to a lot of implications. For one, we can now see accumulation once again. It does involve the user opening their actual inventory on their browser, so once that happens, and it just will kind of happen over time as people use the website, as people check their inventories, we will have a full picture at what's going on once again. This will make tracking much, much easier than it was over the last month or so since the Dead Hand update, which changed how databases were able to work. On top of this, it also allows us to track case openings once again. Case openings were unable to be tracked because what case opening trackers do is that they track the items that are unboxed within each case and then make an estimation on how many cases were opened. They are estimates, they are not actually factual, they're just a rough estimate, but they give us a very good picture of what the landscape is looking like. And that allows us to see just general trends going on within the market, and we can look at skins within those cases, and it opens up a whole lot of different possibilities to us. And that is the general state. Prices are low, the market cap is low, but with finding a support and with this level holding out, you could expect the next few days to at least be sideways, because even if more people start to sell off, the money that is now in people's balances ready to go will probably be injected into the market as their money now has a relative higher value than it did 4 to 5 days ago. And you're going to see the bleeding stop in a very mass macro sense, but then you're also going to see just more general price movement upwards for specific skins, even though that has already been the case thus far. And this is why during times of panic and times of negativity, it's the best time to accumulate. If you're paying attention right now, you're going to be rewarded. Even anecdotally, if you just take a look around, there's less people in the space right now because with prices down means people go away. And those are the people that are fucking stupid. Those are the people you sell to. And this is doubly so if you're a little bit in the hole from the armory. Pricing across the board within the armory is down. And we all know not all collections in the armory right now are equal in terms of valuation. The newer charms within the armory are falling. The Train 2025 collection's falling, even though it's only been in the armory for a year, which is pretty much standard at this point. And even if you are uncomfortable moving back into the armory, all older collections are down. And older collections just kind of provide you an insight onto the market, because these things should theoretically never go down. They are discontinued. They only have a limited supply, and that supply number will only get smaller as time goes on and more players join the game. Even in the absence of trade-ups, a 5,000 gun supply is a lot less when there's 2 million people playing as opposed to 50,000 people playing. But regardless of the Armory bullback and regardless of the case prices doing a pretty nice surge over the last couple of weeks, this just goes to show you the importance of diversifying between different types of skins and assets within the game, right? You shouldn't have had 100% of your bag in the Armory, right? As I've said in videos before, you kind of want to have a 70-30 split, 70 safe, 30 risky. The risky can kind of help your 70% out when it does bad, and your 70 will help out your 30 when it's doing bad. The people who are hurting the least, the people with account inventories actually up over the last month, these are the people that were spread around, because when this sector's down, this sector's up, which evens each other out. So the question becomes, where should you put your money right now? Because as we just spoke about, some things are up, you don't want to put your money there, but some things are down quite handedly and quite more so than they actually should be in the grand scheme of things. So let's find those sectors. But before I tell you where that answer starts, a quick word from our sponsor, skins.com. Skins.com is the newest sponsor on our channel. They have just released a P2P trading platform looking to compete with the best players in the space. If you don't want to wait that long, they do have an insta-sell feature on the site in which the rates are the best I've seen, just straight up. When the market is down, everything is on sale. And with the deals you're getting on skins.com, you could start your position basically up 20 to 25%. Try out skins.com and be a part of the future of CS2 skin trading. I will have a code soon, so stay tuned for that. And of course, we have a giveaway here for an Ursus Knife Marble Fade in Factory New. Go on my Twitter for a little bit more information there. Alright boys, if you're an OG, and even if you're not really an OG, all 0-1 float cap guns are fucking murdering over the last few weeks in general. They're quite literally all up. Every collection, every case, anything that has a 0-1 float cap is doing very well considering the state of the market. As we spoke about before, the USP Flashback, the M4 Magnesium from the Danger Zone case, the Mag 7 copper coated from the Anubis collection, the AUG Luxe trim, the AUG Ricochet, all up, all murdering, despite everything going down. So now you should be convinced 0-1 is the best float range in the game. Because at this point, most 0-1 guns, their price point is higher than what it costs to trade up to realistically. The trade up update made every gun have a 3% chance of being eligible to trade up to Factory New. Before that, some, like the Acid Fade, were 100%. But since they've all been equaled out to 3%, over time, the amount of Factory New eligible fillers will eventually reach that 3% threshold. Which means that the price point is going to reflect that 3% number in the market in general as more skins are traded up and subsequently taken out of the market forever. This is why you're seeing that price action. It's not random, at this point it's barely a pump, it's just simply supply and demand. Scarcity doesn't get cheaper when the market gets worse. It goes down in proportion to the market maybe, but the timing of this works out very well as it's completely outperforming and murdering the market. And you bet your ass when everything else starts to go back up with the market, these will also benefit from that as well. Mind you, my portfolio is up this month despite having a shit ton of plays within the Armory, despite the market being down 7 days in a row. Even the 0-1s that stay completely sideways are still fine because the market's down, meaning relatively, I've made money off of that play. So that's why you pay attention to the math, and that's why you pay attention to supply and demand within this market, because while so much of demand comes from aesthetic purposes and completely subjective reasoning, there is an objectivity to this market, and that's why it works so well. The pricing will always eventually reflect the math, even if there's short-term changes in that timeline. And with CSFloat's database coming back over the last couple of days, meaning we can find the next 0-1 plays to run up instead of just taking a guess and buying a bunch of different ones at the same time. And as we said before, it also brings attention onto cases, which we'll talk about right now. Cases were the clear winners in this market over the last couple of weeks, as they're the only thing as a broad general sector that has stayed sideways or gone up over the last couple of weeks. A lot of damage came from two specific places during this specific market cycle, and that was the Armory and that was the active drop collections. If you look at their price actions, it's quite jarring. A lot of them are down 30 to 40 to 50% in the last month or so, right? Not only were people expecting an Armory update, but last year, April 1st, 2025, we received new active drop collections. So I guess people were pricing that in to their estimations on the price levels of these Factory New pinks within the active drop collections, and since we didn't get either of those, both of those are taking a tumble. Again, not in your best interest to sell when you are down. The new collections are already in the game's code. All you have to do is wait. You just have to expand your timeline a little bit. It's not that big of a deal. The only way you lose money is if you actually sell and realize those losses. But the active cases are a little bit different because unlike active drops, we could pretty much guarantee them to be removed every 6 months until they're all gone and replaced with terminals. September, the fracture case was removed. Last March, Recoil was removed. Before that, Snakebite was removed. Every 6 months, something was removed and something was replaced with it. And with the case data being back a little bit this week, the least opened one so far tends to be Revolution. Now, Revolution is interesting because it is the Generation 2 of glove. It shares its glove collection with Clutch, meaning that there's only 2 compared to Recoil, Snakebite, and Broken Fang, which has 3. Because it is actively dropped, I do think you'll have a time in which there is a better entry, right? We realistically can't expect a new terminal, and thus Revolution being gone until at least September. But the Clutch is receiving a little bit of attention this week, and it's a brother of the Revolution case. And if the market starts to price in that Revolution is next, the Clutch case will benefit, just as Snakebite did with Recoil being removed last month. Now, as I said, this sentiment is still fairly early. I do think you'll have a time in which you can enter the Revolution case at a cheaper price than what it is right now. But the Clutch case probably won't fall in proportion with Revolution because it's actually still discontinued, right? It still might trend downwards for a little bit of time, but it still will probably maintain the price levels it has right now. Don't get me wrong, there's still good plays within this case itself. I believe the MP9 Featherweight, and there's one other 0-1 blue, the Tech 9. But I do also think there's a time in which the prices right now will be expensive compared to where they will be during the summer or so. So if you do want to move in, maybe don't move in at once. Wait a couple of weeks, buy in. Wait another couple of weeks, buy in, etc. Past Clutch and Revolution, let's talk about the other cases right now. Snakebite and Recoil continue to do well. The underlying case price continues to trend upwards, although the skins within it have not followed yet, which offers a nice increased buying opportunity. As I spoke about in my last video, the AK Slate, the AK Ice Cold, these will always be great plays within these 2 cases because the gloves eventually will start to trend upwards as case numbers start to go down. And these are just cheap budget AKs like the Red Line that'll just sort of trend upwards over time with player count increases, with just general increases in the market cap. These are very good things to follow as a sentiment of the market as a whole. One specific gun from the Snakebite collection is the R8 Revolver Junkyard. This is a 0-1 R8 revolver, and it is seeing an increased bit of attention by way of China, I suppose. It's completely doubled over the last 2 weeks or so. It's a 0-1 float cap skin from Snakebite. The reason why the R8 went up so much is because there isn't that many 0-1 blues within Snakebite. Recoil is a little bit different. A lot of the blues within Recoil, except for one, the Galil, they're all 0-1. Meaning that more than one specific gun gaining all of the price movement, it's kind of it as a whole blue rarity tier, and thus the case sort of increases by that fact rather than the skins themselves. Regardless, both cases look very primed to do very well in the future if you buy the case, or if you buy the skins within the case, or if you buy the gloves. The glove case itself from Generation 1 looks to be finding some type of support level after months, it seems, of freefall, and maybe even a bit of accumulation across these original China pumped weapons. But right now, I feel like if you want to move in on Generation 1 gloves, it's probably best to not even go for the fillers at this point, just buy the gloves outright. They're very cheap right now. I myself wanted to buy a pair of these gloves, but I was waiting for an armory update because I felt like with new armory things coming out, people would rotate their money from here into there, at least temporarily, providing me a good buying opportunity to go where the attention isn't. That hasn't happened, and it kind of feels like the prices are going to start to trend back upwards before that armory update comes. So I'm kind of torn. I don't know what to do. But we could have expected more. The skins within the glove case were always inflated, right? They manipulated that case as the trade-up update came out, which meant that it never got the supply that the other cases did, and it never got the knife glove trade-ups that the other cases did. So they were kind of living in a prior era, and we expected this downtrend to occur, right? We spoke about it months ago. Gamma, finally getting some fucking attention. I don't know what took them so long here. The case has been sitting there. It has fucking fantastic knives. So one would expect it to at least have the same price action as Spectrum or Chroma, but it never did until this week. The Scar 20 Bloodsport is getting a decent amount of attention this week by way of China. It's in the top 10 movers of the last 7 days. Although the Scar 20 is not a 0-1, the M4 Desolate Space is, so that one's always good to watch out for. And because it has a 0-1 pink in general, the purples will benefit as a result. The AUG Aristocrat is the 0-1 AUG within there. It has the benefit of being an AUG, which is receiving a little bit more attention, and it has a 0-1 float cap. The AUG Phobos, which I called a couple of weeks ago, is not 0-1, but I do think this one is kind of underpriced for what it is, right? The AUG Aetherus we saw go to around $60 in factory new. This one sits at around $9. It has since gone up to around $12 to $13, although you can find it for cheaper on third parties. And there's one skin I talked about, I believe it was on stream, was the P250 Ironclad from the Gamma case. This one has a .05 to .8 float cap. meaning that it's kind of whiteout adjacent in how it works, right? You can use minimal wear skins if they're low enough to trade up to factory new purples. But the factory new one itself could just be a rare good play in and of itself, because you cannot trade up to a blue within a case collection, meaning that float cap will make it that much harder to get in factory new. So that skin's good, as well as the Mac 10 Carnivore from the Gamma case, which is just a 0-1 filler for the case. And with that being the general state of the market right now, of course there's probably other plays elsewhere. We look at the top 3 movers of the week. First one is the Tech 9 Jambia, which is from the Revolver case. The Mac 10 Ultraviolet in minimal wear condition, which is because it's a 0.06 to 0.8 float cap, and that's from the Esports 2014 case. And the FAMAS Calicamo, which is the top mover of the day, but over the last 7 weeks it's number 3 from the Mirage 2021 collection. Now, if you notice anything, they're not high tier skins, they're all blues or below. Now, this is not just the top 3, it's pretty much the top 100, pretty much. Most are blue or below. And it's not a coincidence, it's definitely a pattern that we have to recognize and have to see what they're doing here. And I think it is very intentional, because I think there's a new trend starting to surface, right? When the market is down and when the market has no volume going on, it makes it a lot easier to accumulate things, right? And instead of just testing the higher tier skins, right now you could test the lower tier skins, because if you can successfully price people out of the blues in a case or the purples within a case, then you can price out anyone from the higher tiers that much easier, right? When you pump a red skin, you have to worry about the pinks, because the pinks can trade up to the reds, and it provides an entryway for retail traders to get into. But if you start at the blues and you start at the purples and then you work your way up, and you can make sure you can control the blue and you make sure you can control the purple, it makes it that much easier, stopping an entire way of people getting the skin by way of trade ups, because that filler is going to be way too expensive in order to realistically and profitably trade up. And of course, within cases at least, the blues cannot be the source of trade up outputs, meaning that their supply is technically locked if the case price is high enough in which people aren't realistically opening them, right? Something like the weapon case 1, how many blues are realistically coming in from cases per day, and how many people are realistically doing blue to purple trade ups within that case? That case is going to be theoretically much easier to manipulate than something like Fever right now. So you have those two things, right? Trade up supply and case supply, and if you put those two things out of the question, people have no way of getting these skins other than outright buying them, meaning that if you manipulate the prices of these guns and you have a lot of them in your inventory, you control the price, because people can't open the case because it's too expensive. The ROI just simply isn't there, and people can't do trade-ups because the ROI simply isn't there in that way either, meaning that you control the price and they have to buy from you. That's why I think they're going for the lower tier ones right now, because they actually can, considering the, relative less amount of activity going on within the market. And I think it's just the smarter way in which to go about things. From these 3, the most promising one looks to be the FAMAS Calicamo. Again, it's another Mirage 2021 skin, which kind of just makes me believe that they're really going to get rid of this collection sooner rather than later. And even if they don't, get rid of it in the next month or something, I realistically think Mirage and Dust 2 get new collections in the next year and a half. So, it just increases your timeline. I think that'll still be an alright play in the grand scheme of things. Now, stepping back out a little bit into the world of China, it still looks like they're targeting those weirder weapons, right? They focused on the Galil for a very long time, then they focused on the FAMAS, and now it looks to be the Tech 9 as of right now. The MP7 is always in the mix, and the AUG. A lot of AUGs are up. Carved Jade is up again, another leg up, back up to around $130. The AUG Stymphalion, which is from the Clutch case, which we spoke about earlier, is up to around $20 in factory new, although I don't believe that one's 0-1. The AUG Triqua is 0-1, as well as the AUG Ricochet, which we spoke about last week, I believe. Those are finally getting attention. The AUG Triqua has seen a fuck ton of attention over the last month or so. The last one, I don't think I've ever spoke about this one, the Fleet Flock. I purchased one of these a couple of months ago at around $40. It hit around $100. I'll probably get out of that one, to be honest. Another couple of pinks, the Sid Mead, and the momentum is down a little bit right now from where I called it, unfortunately. But it poses another good buying opportunity if you have some money ready to go. The USPs are doing very well post-reload update, right? No one fucking uses the P2000, shocker. And the USP prices are starting to recover once again. On the flip side, the M4A4s still continue to go up because the M4A1S definitely did take a hit there, which not only provides good buying opportunities for the A4, but also for the A1S, as I'm sure over time, the actual number and split will find itself somewhere in the middle. And independent of any play that I've just spoken about, there's just general money to be made right now in the state of this market. Once an update hits or an operation lands or the major comes back, whatever happens first, the money's gonna come back. The people that were watching, that aren't watching right now, they're gonna come back and they're gonna miss all of this, and you're the one to gain if you're watching it right now. Anim Graph 2 is coming out. That's going to really help the game out quite a bit. That's why I suggest taking a look at collection skins as well. Some collection skins are down on the week quite handedly, right? This basically has the same exact dynamics as a case, for example, because it simply doesn't go down in price. They only go down in supply, right? They only go down in supply unless you're the highest tier 1, and even then, it's not like the incoming supply of that from trade-ups is that much to make a difference in price anyway, right? These ones aren't going to 5x in a month or something, unless they get pumped, which is a very real possibility. But most of them are just going to trend upwards, irregardless of what attention it gets from China, from other people, because when you have player count increases, when you have updates that bring money and people into the game, the supply becomes relatively less. 5,000 for 50,000 players is a lot more than 50,000 for 2 million players. So as people come in, as people start playing the game, the supply goes down that way as well. And that brings us into the sticker craft of the week. I gotta show off mine that I bought. The Deagle Blaze was down 50%. I bought this one for $800 on the dot. It's a Deagle Blaze with a Katowice 15, a DreamHack 2014, and a MLG Hollow Fanatic. All three. It's got a name tag. It's called Hot. Fucking beauty of a gun. Next one comes from Decimus from the Discord. Shout out you. He said he made this one for me because I don't like anime. It's like a scorpion eating 2 anime girls on a scout death strike. Pretty cool, but the best part about this craft are the 2 really funny googly eyes on the scorpion. I really like that. I really want that scout now. Then we have this absolutely insane craft by Morgot. Put 4 Dignitas DreamHack 2014s on a blue from the fucking Overpass collection. I don't know what the fuck you were thinking, but it looks good. Lastly, this one from Vigis66. He's got an AK Aphrodite, and I really like the stickers he put on this one. The Faces sticker is dope, and the 3 mouse sports. I think that's the best logo ever in the game, to be honest with you. It just screams like 90s Counter-Strike. I don't know why. I absolutely love that fucking sticker. For the clip of the week, I'm gonna go with this one from Sprite. This is an ace on Anubis. I really wanted to showcase this one because I fucking hate your view model. I don't know what the fuck you're on or what you're thinking, but it is god awful. I don't know how you see anything, but a fantastic play nonetheless. Clean aim, good shit all around, baby. And then this is from CSGO, so this is like a 10-year-old clip, I guess. It's a ramp pick, most satisfying pick in the game, to be honest. It's a nice flick on the guy triple, comes out sandwich, quick scopes the guy cat, quick scopes the guy jungle, go CT, finishes it off for the ace. Fantastic play. Op Asimov looks much better in Go, I just realized. And that's going to bring us to this week's watch list. I think I'm just going to restart the watch list right now because I just have so many rotating plays that kind of stay in play as we keep going, so it's best not to just keep reporting on it. I'll have to make like a spreadsheet or something in which I have all my plays so that people can look at it, click on it, and see it in real time. So I'm going to start with the recoil, snakebite, and clutch case. All of the blues, purples with 0 to 1 float caps. These ones are still not at their theoretical peak because either they just got discontinued or their brother case is still active, so they do not have their ceiling max potential hit. A lot of the skins within Recoil and Snakebite have started to trend down since Recoil's discontinuation, meaning that this poses a decent buying opportunity, and the clutch case will benefit the most when Revolution gets discontinued, which obviously hasn't happened yet. We don't know when it will happen, but it will happen. So just look out for 0 to 1s, basically anywhere, but like blues and purples are what you want to go for. I wouldn't go into the R8 Junkyard, where I would look into the purples in the Snakebite more so. The Recoil, I would definitely still go with the blues. A lot of them are very cheap, like the Negev Drop Me and the PP Bison. I forgot the name of it though. Then the M4 Poly Soup will be play number 2. This one has continued to go down, as we know it had received a lot of attention over the last couple of weeks. It still has the same hollow effect it did 2 weeks ago. It's going to have the same hollow effect when Anim Graph 2 comes out, and right now it's at the price it was before the update came out, making it a very decent buying opportunity, as well as kind of the graphic design collection as a whole, right? The AK Crossfade seems super underpriced to me for some reason. Even if it isn't that great of a skin, it's just an AK that's cheap, and eventually it will start to trend upwards, right? The Steel Delta isn't nice, but that one's fucking up, so why can't this one be up either? Then some higher tier guns, like the Deagle Blaze that I purchased was $300 off from where it was 2 weeks ago. The Emerald Jorgemanger from fucking Norse is like half off, something like that. I fucking hate that stupid ass word. And then the Starcade from the graphic design collection as well, which is a super popular deal, so I think that one probably has the most upside in like by way of supply only going down for that one as well. So this is where we are. The market's in a little bit of panic, but if you're not panicking and you're here and you're still buying some stuff and accumulating, you're going to do very well in the future, because it's the people that stay here when the things get quiet. It's the people that are here when things aren't going their way, the people that still find ways to optimize and make their portfolio a little bit more efficient and just that much better. And when the people come back, the hype people, the people that only want to make money quick, that's when you make the most. The armory pullback has maybe not subsided, but the majority of the bleeding has subsided. If you're here and you continue to show up, you will be duly rewarded in the next few months or so. That being said, peace.